May I request everyone to please be seated, and friends who are standing outside may come in so that we can start our program. Friends, please be seated. Mukesh ji, around. दोनों ऑन कर दो. कर लो. India, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the inaugural session of the second New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention here at the Stein Auditorium, India Habitat Center. We are truly honored to have all of the distinguished jurists, eminent members of the bars and leaders from the legal fraternity. We have gathered here to deliberate on the rule of law and its contemporary context. May I now request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly come up on the stage and take their seats on the dais, please. Anandit, come on. May I request you to welcome them with a warm round of applause, please. We are also lucky to have amongst us Justice Pitle, Justice Mai from our High Court, who are also guest of honor for us, and they are amongst us. May I now request Mukesh Kumar ji, our Joint General Secretary, to present a bouquet as a token of love and affection to Justice Koteshwar Singh, please. Sorry. I'm so sorry, Justice Mahesh. May I request our Joint General Secretary Akash Kumar ji to give bouquet to Justice Koteshwar Singh, please. So we begin our program by requesting our President of Law Asia and Vice President of Bar Association of India, Mr. Shyam Diwan, to deliver his welcome address.
What's the message?
Thank you very much, Amarjit. Honorable Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Honorable Justice N. Koteshwar Singh, Honorable Justice Pitle from the Bombay High Court, Honorable Justice Anirudh Mai of the Gujarat High Court, both distinguished former colleagues whom I'm sort of very proud of for having adorned the bench in the respective high courts. As you know from the program, both Justice J.K. Maheshwari and Justice N. Koteshwar Singh serve on the Supreme Court of India, and it's truly a great honor for us to have them amongst us, and will be addressing this august gathering shortly. Also on the dais, I address Prashant Kumar, President of the Bar Association of India, President-elect Mr. Amarjit Chandiok, Rachana Srivastav, Vice President, Bar Association of India, Anandita Pujari, Vice President, Bar Association of India, and our very own Amarjit Singh Bedi, Honorary General Secretary, Bar Association of India, distinguished bar leaders, members of the bar from across the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and distinct pleasure to welcome each one of you to the second New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention 2025. We have at this event a record 431 delegates with 230 local registrations, 60 registrations we describe as international, but that is just partly true. This is because we have a terrific response from members of the Nepal Bar, whose delegation of 135 lawyers is led by the distinguished President, Professor Dr. Bijay Prasad Mishra. I'm also honored to acknowledge the presence of bar leaders both from within and outside India. In this program, you will hear from Ms. Lisa Sam, President, Law Society of Singapore, Mr. Roden Tong, President, Law Society of Hong Kong, Mr. Divino Sabino, President, Bar Association of Seychelles, Mr. Stephen Thiru, President, Commonwealth Lawyers Association, Mrs. Shereen Luezi Lucienge, President, Bar Association of Congo Central, our very own Mr. Nitin Thakkar, President, Bombay Bar Association, Mr. Andre Hogg, Vice President, German Federal Bar, Mr. Roger Chin, immediate past President of the Sabah Law Society, Ms. Vanessa Busardo, Vice President of the Paris Bar Association, Mr. Hiran M.C. De Alvis, Chairman, Board of Governors, Sri Lanka National Arbitration Centre, Mr. George Menza, Vice President, International Bar Association, Dr. Mohammad Hussain, Vice President of the Egyptian Bar, Mr. Bruno Parta Magales, Vice President of the Federal Council of the Brazilian Bar Association, Ms. Cha Mi View, representing the Association of Lawyers of Russia. And in the course of this event, you will also have the pleasure, and I notice them in the audience, my distinguished friends, President Ezri of the Malaysian Bar, President Zainidi of the Brunei Dar es Salaam Bar Association. I notice Nixon Sipatur, representing Peradi, which is the National Bar Association from Indonesia, Justice Penjoy from the Bhutar Bar Council. So that's a very special distinction that we have because he has served on the Supreme Court of Bhutan. He's been the Attorney General of Bhutan and now serves as the Vice President of the Bhutan Bar Council. So we acknowledge his presence and greet him. We also have with us Law Asia President-elect T.L. Yap. We have distinguished members from the Law Asia Executive Committee whom you will have an opportunity to interact with, including Mr. S.S. Naganand from Bengaluru, India, Mr. Saroj Ghimre from Nepal, Rajiv Amar Surya, who also serves as President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. If there are any names that I have missed, and I may have, it's because I haven't sufficiently reviewed the program, and I apologize for that. But I think this forum really provides a tremendous opportunity for all of you to meet and interact and exchange views. I thank you all for traveling great distances to New Delhi. And I'm delighted to offer you New Delhi, which has been scrubbed clean over the last several days. We've had a series of showers. The air is splendid. The city is looking at its greenest and its brightest and its most inviting. And I do hope all of you have an opportunity to discover not only its monuments, which are very significant, both ancient, medieval, and modern in terms of our new architecture. We have some fabulous parks and gardens which you can explore with interspersed monuments. One very close by here is the Lodi Garden. There are fantastic bazaars to explore with lots of delicious smells of South Asia and exciting colors. I do hope on the side of this conference you will have an opportunity to meet at least fulfill some of these joys which the city has to offer. Over the next 2 days, you will hear diverse perspectives on a very timely and relevant topic on one aspect of the rule of law, or a particular facet of the rule of law, which is global economic governance and principles. I congratulate President Prashant Kumar and his cerebral team for having anticipated the relevance of this topic at a time when the rule of law demands certainty, predictability, and fairness in the world economic order, and particularly in respect of world trade. The Supreme Court of India has on numerous occasions reminded us that arbitrariness and capriciousness are sworn enemies of the rule of law. It will be for this convention to search out principles and share learnings on how we can strengthen the rule of law by ensuring good governance both locally and internationally. I would like to end by recognizing one of our absolute doyens of the bar, whom I just noticed is entered, Mr. Avinash Rana, who is 99 years, a very active member of the Bombay Bar Association. And I do hope all of you have a chance to interact and exchange messages, information with him, because he is an absolutely encyclopedia of law in terms of developments of the story of law in India. With that, I welcome each one of you. Please do enjoy the next 2 days at the Rule of Law Convention of the Bar Association of India. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Diwan, for such a warm welcome, and especially for promoting Delhi as a tourist destination. Now may I request our President, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President of the Bar Association of India, to deliver his President's address. But before that, there is a special message from the Prime Minister of India. If I could request him to read that out for us. It's a special message given for this second New Delhi International Conference. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. I just want to make a short welcome because Shyam has made a very elaborate welcome addressing all our colleagues from all over the world and also India. Honorable Mr. Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Honorable Mr. Justice Koteshwar Singh, both judges of the Supreme Court of India, Honorable Mr. Justice Manish Pitale and Mr. Justice Anirudh Mai, representing two high courts from the Western India, one Bombay High Court and the other Gujarat High Court. We have presence of galaxy of individuals and keynote addresses from big stalwarts heading the institutions which are at the foundation of sustaining rule of law. We will have presence of Justice V. Ramasubramaniam, who heads the National Human Rights Commission of India. We have right now Dr. Kamalin Pinitpu Vadol, who is Secretary General of Asia Africa Legal Consultative Organization. We have presidents and leaders of Indian and global bars all present here. Shyam acknowledged their presence. I don't want to repeat. This convention has got attention from all over the world, and your presence signifies that. And we have a special message from the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, addressed to all the delegates, So I will read it out to you. It is heartening to learn about the organization of the second New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention 2025 by the Bar Association of India. Greetings and best wishes to every member of the association for the thoughtful initiative. Over the last several decades, the Bar Association of India has evolved into a distinguished forum for the legal profession, fostering platforms for dialogue, capacity building, and collaboration. The second New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention continues the tradition by providing a global platform for deliberating on important issues of our time. With its theme of global economic governance and principles of rule of law, the convention will strengthen New Delhi's position as a hub for international legal conversations, especially for the global South. In today's interconnected world, it is all the more important that global economic governance rests firmly on the principles of the rule of law. Consistency, consensus, and cooperation are the pillars that strengthen trust in international systems. India has always upheld the view that a just global order must protect the rights of developing countries across different domains. When rules are applied inconsistently, or when multilateral frameworks hesitate to ensure fairness, the most vulnerable nations are the first to suffer. Therefore, the topic of discussion at this conference is not only timely, but also vital. The greater the avenues of fostering international cooperation and informed dialogue, the farther we can travel together towards creating an inclusive global economic order. Best wishes for successful deliberations at the convention. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, dated 28th August 2025. Friends, you can look at the Bar Association's logo, and there is something written in Hindi. It is Devanagari script. The ancient language Sanskrit is also written in the same and other languages. It says Dharma Sansthapanarthaya. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita, and it means, because there is no exact translation, its most proximate translation will be, because in India, dharma is not just religion. Dharma means justice and order. So the Bar Association of India itself stands for establishment of a just rule of law. Not merely a rule of law which institutional systems protect, but the very core of value of justice which has to inform the entire conceptualization of the rule of law. And that's why this convention has chosen the theme of the rule of law, but there cannot be justice in a global order unless that justice is economic justice as well. Unless until the spirit of justice pervades the global economic governance systems. Because without that, all our entreaties to protect and promote human rights, to promote democracy, to promote independent judiciary and independent legal profession will be purposeless, because they find their meaning when populations across the world have means of sustenance, have means to achieve their best prospects in their lives, because that cannot happen without a basic economic prosperity and means to achieve that. Normally, we take the rule of law as a domestic concept. We measure rule of law. There are international agencies which measure rule of law. A rule of law index is published each year by World Justice Foundation, but it is all restricted to measuring rule of law in each domestic jurisdiction. But in today's interconnected world, the rule of law conceptions and principles and values cannot be limited to national boundaries. They must inform every aspect of global economic governance, how global institutions work, and if the global institutions which structure the economy, trade, and finance are not informed and sustained by core values of the rule of law, freedom, and justice, we are never going to achieve what we call a just rule of law. That is why the topics we have chosen in this convention are of seminal importance, and also equally important is that we as members of the legal community play a vital role, understand our roles and responsibilities in helping structure these global structures or reform the institutions by presenting our ideas. And naturally, when any global framework is being made, any institution is being run, any norms are being set, the lawyers are invariably involved in that. And that is why it is very important for us as lawyers associations to promote that thinking, that all these values are the core of any institutional structure or policies which are to be implemented. You cannot lose sight of the principles of the rule of law, whether you are talking about institutions like IMF, World Bank, you are talking about various regional associations, you are talking about G20, you are talking about WTO. All these organizations and their working must be informed by the core principles and values of the rule of law. Again, coming back to India, we have a civilization which is not based on the conception of divine right of king. Instead, from the very beginning in our ancient texts of Arthashastra, I am referring to Arthashastra because it is economics, and economics is central to the statecraft. So in Arthashastra, it is written, Praja sukhe sukham rajyaya, prajanam na hite hitam, natma priyam hitam rajyaya, prajanam tu priyam hitam. In the happiness of his subjects lies the king's happiness. In their welfare, his welfare. What is pleasing to himself is not beneficial, but what pleases his subjects is truly beneficial. So that is where the essence of this convention lies, that the global economic governance systems must be in the service of the global citizens, and especially those who even today suffer from wants and from the basic amenities of lack of basic amenities of life. how we can promote those structures. That is where the SDGs of United Nations will find their real implementation and meaning. So once again, I welcome you all for these 2 days of intense deliberations around these concepts as members of legal community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I now request our guest of honor, Honorable Justice N. Koteshwar Singh, Judge of Supreme Court of India, to address the gathering, please.
My esteemed senior brother, Judge, Honorable Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Judge Supreme Court of India, other dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, it is indeed a privilege to address this august gathering, the delegates from various countries, jurists, who have assembled here to deal and discuss on very important topic in today's world, besetted with conflicts, challenges, where rule of law is threatened, and to reaffirm our belief in the rule of law, which is the foundation of democracy. Rule of law, in essence, means that a state is governed by laws, not by arbitrary rule, and no one is above law. It is a dynamic concept integral to the India's constitution, the basic structure, meaning that all persons, institutions and the state itself are accountable to publicly promulgated laws that are equally enforced and independently adjudicated. It ensures a balance between individual rights and the state power, promoting principles of equality, fairness and accountability, and is the basic foundation of democracy. Today, as we are addressing this issue of global economic governance and the cross-border terrorism through the prism of rule of law, we are in fact examining how this timeless principle can meet some of the most pressing challenges of the 21st century. As far as India is concerned, as mentioned by the earlier speakers also, the concept of rule of law is not a mere colonial inheritance or a modern concept which have borrowed from other jurisdictions. It is deeply rooted in our ancient ethos and tradition and is based on the concept of dharma. The idea that dharma should guide the conduct of the individuals and the rulers is fundamental to the social order, which is our civilizational value. When it comes to governance, it is guided by what is called Raj Dharma or Dharma of governance. Then what is this Dharma? Dharma is not religion as it is misconstrued or wrongly understood in contemporary times. The word dharma is derived from the Sanskrit root dhri, which means that which holds and sustains. In Mahabharata, this concept of dharma has been explained in various chapters in every episode of Mahabharata, one of the greatest epics where the clash between good and evil have been so beautifully portrayed in human terms. This concept has been explained from time to time in the various interactions between the kings, between the people, the rulers and ruled. Now, it explains dharma as something which nurtures, cherishes, and providing amply, more richly, and which enhances and increases. That is what is explained as dharma. It is also explained as something which supports, brings together, and upholds all the living beings together. And dharma also has been explained is something which secures all living beings freedom from fear and violence. Now, coming to this Raj Dharma or the Dharma of governance, Mahabharata says that when the king, with his heart and speech and body, protects the people and does not pardon a wrongdoing even by his own son, that is called Dharma of governance. Mahabharata also says that Dharma of governance is exhorting of the king to protect his subjects from their fear of the king, from the fears of others, from their fear of each other, and from the fear of things that are not human. Mahabharata also goes on to explain that dharma of governance is wishing to control the wicked. The king must exercise control over himself first. Should his relatives do wrong, he should impose upon them severe punishments. Therefore, the concept of Raj Dharma, which is so beautifully explained in Mahabharata, in fact the foundation of the modern day concept of rule of law as we understand. Thus, it has always been India's own dharma, deserving our highest reverence and adherence and respect. As I see that there are very important topics, themes are going to be discussed today, and one of it is cross-border terrorism and rule of law, of course, where we will have a very distinguished speaker speaking. But I wish to just say a few words also on that. In fact, India has been a victim of terrorism. Since people may be thinking it's just a recent phenomenon. No. Since 1947, when India was declared independent, a horde of armed tribesmen came from Pakistan, almost reached Srinagar. They were stopped at Baramulla. When people rose against the invaders and Indian army had to intervene, that's how Kashmir was saved from the foreign invasion. From then onwards, it has continued unabated in spite of various understanding agreements and urging by the international community also, it goes unabated. The last being what has happened in Pahalgam. It's a real threat to the rule of law. This threat to the rule of law obviously impels the country, the victim, to resort to various means to prevent and stop it. In our anxiety to do so, we may try to then attempt to overreach the rule of law. Fortunately, this country has been able to resist that temptation. I will give this example. All of us very well know of the incident of the Bombay attack, when 10 terrorists belonging to Lashkar-e-Toiba had descended upon the Indian soil through the sea route, created a mayhem massacre, unprecedented scale, which was captured live also. And they were captured in CCTV cameras. unarmed, innocent passengers waiting for the trains in the railway station was butchered. People sleeping in hotels were butchered. People in the market were butchered. Unparalleled. Of course, 9 of them also were killed in encounter. 1 survived. Everything, all evidences were before us. If we wanted, we could have convicted in a single day. What evidence will require? Everything is on the platter. But India did not resort to that shortcut. We decided that he must go through a full-scale trial. Any other accused, whether he is a foreign terrorist or any other criminal who deserves to be treated in the most humane manner, fair, transparent trial. The trial was conducted more than a year. He wanted a lawyer from Pakistan. Pakistan obviously denied any role linked with these people. They did not bother. The Bombay, I think the members from Bombay Association, Bar Association, they also passed a resolution that we will not give any assistance to this terrorist. Chief Justice of India intervened. No, he deserves to be given a lawyer to defend himself. Indeed, a lawyer was provided to him. 1,000, more than 1,000 pages of charge sheet. 80 charges were made against him. 86. He was given all the benefits. The entire legal system was operationalized to the extent it is practiced for any other accused in the country. Yes, he was convicted and sentenced to death. What I am trying to say is that there is always, of course, there was a huge popular resentment and anger. And hang him, you know. No, because our deep-rooted respect and adherence to the principle of rule of law, we never jettisoned all those due process which is required of this due process. There is another aspect also. Terrorism has been continuing not only in Kashmir but other parts of the country also. Yes, we did make some departure when Tada, when Pota, which are specially enacted to deal with these terrorists, were enacted. We did make a departure. Under the Indian CRPC, any statement made to the police is inadmissible in law. There is a statutory bar. It cannot be used for any purpose. The statutory is very, very clear. It cannot be used for any purpose except for confronting or cross-examining during that, the limited scope. Otherwise, it is of no value. It is only valuable to the investigators. Yes, a departure was made in this act, these two acts, Tada and Pota. That statement made to a responsible officer could be admitted. It was challenged also. There was hue and cry. There were popular demands that while making this departure, because it has the potential of being misused. Ultimately, this also was dropped. And today, we have a new act, UAP Act. But this provision which makes any statement made to the police during the investigation admissible is no more part of our criminal justice system. It is nothing but a respect for the rule of law. Because rule of law demands that any investigation must be fair, any trial must be fair and transparent, and which is opposed to any provision which is considered to be unacceptable to a civilized society. I do not wish to take much of your time. Our honorable speaker, our chief guest also here, and we have another whole day. There will be a plenary session on different aspects of the rule of law. I am very, very thankful that so many participants from across the globe have assembled here. In fact, today, the whole concept of a rule of law is not just a mere cliche, is not a cliche. It is a need of the hour. Without the rule of law, any society which claims itself to be a democracy is hollow. In fact, if you see around, open the constitution of the world, every country claims itself to be democracy. But do you really believe in your heart of heart? No. Because you know that the rule of law is not really respected or followed. It is this importance that we all assemble here to reaffirm our faith and to see that the foundation of rule of law remains sound, robust, and that is the basis for democracy, because without it, there cannot be peace, without it, there cannot be prosperity, without it, there cannot be liberty, without it, there cannot be equality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Lordship. Your speech, and especially the way you have explained the essence of rule of law, has deeply resonated with all of us. Now, it's my proud privilege to invite our Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Judge of Supreme Court of India, to deliver the inaugural address.
Brother Justice and Koteshwar Singh, Brother Justice Manish Pitale from Mumbai High Court, Brother Anirudh Mai, Gujarat High Court, on dais Mr. Avinash Rana, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President Bar Association of India, Amarjit Singh Chandok, President-elect, Bar Association of India, Mr. Sham Diwan, President Bar Association of India and President Law Asia, Ms. Rachna Srivastav, Vice President Bar Association of India, Ms. Aninditi Pujari, Vice President, and Amarjit Singh Bedi, Honorary General Secretary. Brother and sister judges, esteemed dignitaries of the dais, members of the International Legal Fraternity, Federation of Bar Association, gracious ladies and gentlemen. Though it's a privilege to be here in this acclaimed gathering, but first, as Prashant said about this emblem, I was also thinking for it. This emblem says, Dharma Sansthapanartha hai. For establishing dharma. When we thought about this religious site, it's a dharma. Raj Dharma explained, every dharma explained. When I go to the emblem of the Supreme Court, what is written? Yato dharma tato jaya. Wherever a dharma. Now, why the importance of this dharma, why this bar has adopted this, and why Supreme Court adopted for this? As and when we brought Constitution of India, our dharma is the rule of law. And when our dharma is the rule of law, then we have to thought, we have to imbibe, we have to live, and we have to establish rule of law. None else. Once we are discussing on a topic, this is global economic governance and principle of rule of law, focusing economic governance and cross-border terrorism. If we see this, the object behind appears to be how economically we can develop ourselves. Second, what is the hurdle? Primarily appears to be cross-border terrorism and how it can be eradicated. This is by way of rule of law. Just I divided into three parts of this. I was thinking and how it can be. If we see for Indian perspective, here I have came to know that 5 continent, 30 countries participating. If we see with Indian perspective, then India in 79th Independence Day and prior to that gave slogan Make in India, but thinking further for 100 years, and that is we are thinking for that how we can develop with rule of law and peace. Once we thought, when we go for global economic governance, then the rule of law is a matter of immense significance. Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General, said, globalization has made us dependent on one another, and we cannot afford to ignore each other's problem. So now I am coming on this. How interdependence we can be removed, and that can be by way of attendees as present today, that of 5 continents and 300 countries. The only thing how we can, what is fear? Is fear itself. When we can eradicate it, no fear. When we go to this, then instability of fear of economic collapse on the subject, fear of terrorism, and undermines both governance and justice. So how it can be removed? That is by way of fairness, peace, by maintaining the rule of law. Once we talk about a economic governance as first topic and first head of this part, at the heart of today's discussion lies the ideas that effective economic governance is essential, not only for ensuring prosperity, but also for fostering a just and peaceful world. When governed by the principles of fairness, transparency, and accountability, these systems hold the power to uplift societies, foster innovation, and facilitate international cooperation. Yes, yet these structures, vital to global stability, are often fragile, subject to external threats, one of the most disruptive being the rise of cross-border terrorism. I say this cross-border terrorism is a direct threat of our economic governance. Brother Koteshwar Singh gave the examples, but I am not going to that. If we go to the cross-border terrorism, it's not merely a threat of national security, it is a direct assault on the very foundation of the global economic stability. Terrorist organizations increasingly operate a borderless world, leveraging complex financial networks and span across nations. The consequences of their action are far-reaching, destabilizing entire economics, undermine investor confidence, and disrupting trade flows. Terrorism, particularly when funded through illicit means such as money laundering and exploitation of global financial system, diverts resources away from critical areas like development, infrastructure, and public services. These acts of terror are not confident by physical violence, they strike at the heart of economic systems that are essentially for stability, growth, and human flourishing. Then what is the role of the rule of law in combating this? This is where, whenever we follow the principle of rule of law, then this can be covered up. It prevents the abuses of power, protects human rights and internal cooperation. When I go with Indian perspective, the Mahatma Gandhi said, terrorism and deception are weapons not too strong, but of the weak. We have to thought of it. Why? Mahatma Gandhi said so. Only we have to follow the rule of law. When we talk about Indian Supreme Court, in the judgment of the People's Union versus Civil Liberty in Union of India, 2004 4 SCC, when the provisions of the Pota, byrees of the Pota was under challenge, the Supreme Court made certain observations in that. The protection of human rights under the rule of law is essential in prevention of terrorism. If human rights are violated in the process of combating terrorism, it will be self-defeating. To maintain the delicate balance of protecting core human rights is the responsibility of the court. Supreme Court said, I will quote, the protection and promotion of human rights under the rule of law is essential in prevention of terrorism. Here comes the role of law and court's responsibility. If human rights are violated in the process of combating terrorism, it will self-defeating. Terrorism often thrives where human rights are violated, which adds to the need of strengthening action to combat violations of the human right. The lack of hope for justice provide breeding grounds for terrorism. Terrorism itself should also be understood as an assault on basic rights. In all cases, the fight against terrorism must be respectful to the human rights. Our Constitution laid down clear limitation on state actions within the context of the fight against terrorism. To maintain this delicate balance by protecting core human rights is the responsibility of the court in a matter of like this. And therefore, the variance was not granted. So this was the thought process for terrorism. If we thought how human right and this rule of law can be, Indian Constitution prescribes Article 21. No person shall be deprived by his personal liberty until procedure established by law. When we talk about this, there is a discussion for it when there was a judgment from the state high fall, then District Magistrate Jabalpur, Additional District Magistrate Jabalpur, Shivkant Shukla, Madhya Pradesh High Court, this was a judgment during the emergency when the emergency was imposed here, and the issue was whether the fundamental right can be impinged during the emergency. High Court said, a very small judgment in one paragraph, two paragraph, lightly said, oh, it can't be. When this came for challenge before the Supreme Court, in old days, this was a verdict of 4/1 at that time. And at that verdict, it was said, reversing that judgment of the Madhya Pradesh, it was said, no, it can be suspended during the emergency. See the rule of law establishment, how it came back. In the judgment of K. Puttusamy in 2017, 9 judges bench considered this aspect, how this can be done and how rule of law can be established. Is it possible that the fundamental right enshrined by the Constitution can be arrested during emergency? At that time, though the Supreme Court was examining the issue of right to privacy, as a fundamental right under the Constitution, but then embark upon, and that judgment has been set aside by the 9 judges bench. And the Supreme Court said at that time, the judgment rendered by all 4 judges Constitution in majority in ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant are seriously flawed. Life and personal liberty are inalienable to human existence. Once we talk about human right, and once we talk about personal liberty, and we can understand that that can only be possible by way of maintaining the rule of law, none else. Now, looking to the time span, I am going far from my time. So, if we go to concluding, I would like to share something. Most basic question is not what is best, what I thought. Most basic question is not what I thought, but who shall decide what is best. So it is a time today we should decide what is best, and that we have to go for. If we see to this, I say, let us take this opportunity of gathering here, then discussing on the issues, then we should forge a path forward, one in which economic governance and the rule of law are not mere aspirations, but active living forces and derive global stability, justice, and peace. The task before us is great, but the reward of success is even greater. A world where global economic governance is governed by the rule of law and where terrorism finds no safe harbor. With that, I formally open this session and invite all participants to engage in discussion, which I am confident will be of highly productive and insightful. Thank you very much for inviting me, calling me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, my lords, for setting the tone for this convention and also sharing with us the concept of dharma, human rights, etc. A truly inspiring address. Now may I request Mr. Amarjeet Singh Chandiok, President-elect of the Bar Association of India, to kindly share his remarks.
My Lord Justice Maheshwari has already said the constraint of time, so I'm not inviting everybody's names. Dignitaries and honorable judges on the dais, off the dais, dignitaries all over the world, here. I think the message that the Prime Minister gave us to the Bar Association of India and says that you are a distinguished forum, not only for legal profession, but also for fostering platform for dialogue, capacity building and collaboration. I think everything is conveyed in this. What we are doing today is that we believe in rule of law. Because if you see, many people criticize us that we have a lot of courts blogging with dockets all over, whether it's the Supreme Court or the High Court or the District Courts. But I believe the reason for doing this is because each one of this country, every person of this country, notwithstanding diversity of religion, caste, everything, believes in rule of law and knocks the court of the door, or the courts. And that itself establishes the fact that we in this country strongly believe in rule of law. And that's why the Bar Association of India has taken upon itself the responsibility to ensure that if we can collaborate with others, with all the countries that are represented today, we shall be able to carry this together as a message to the world as to what rule of law is. We are just talking about terrorism, and I remember unlawful activities by Simi was a subject matter before an honorable judge, because the honorable judge becomes the tribunal. And they said there is no evidence against us. What is the evidence of our unlawful activities? So we were able to line up that even if these incidents out of these 35 that we arranged before the honorable judge, even if 5 of them were true, it establishes that you have violated the rule of law. And that itself is sufficient for you to be declared an unlawful activities organization. We, in fact, need to collaborate with each other. And I think time has come when we must dialogue with each other. We must meet each other, see what are the reasons that we are not able to do it. The economic power has already come to Asia, and it's time that, especially in Asia, we are able to foster new rules, innovate new ideas, where we can bring harmony, peace to the society, and see all these people who are indulging in something which we call terrorism can be eliminated. 1 or 2 incidents of somebody being hanged or somebody will not make a difference. Though my Lord mentioned about the Madhya Pradesh High Court and then the Supreme Court, I only wanted to say I was young at that time, and in Delhi High Court the experience was, if we brought a petition before the High Court, there was no system of advance copy at that time. My Lord, who became my Honorable Judge, Justice Harish Chandra, was the standing counsel for the Government of India. He used to be summoned to the court, and the bench said, if 20% of this petition is correct, we need to interfere. And that used to happen. Therefore, even during emergency, I saw within my own self, as a youngster, that the rule of law was established and we adhered to it. We have made an endeavor from there to come this place. Our advocates, Community 75, will be released soon. You will find what has been the situation that we have been able to come through. In fact, it reminds me, in COVID, we brought about a question of peace and harmony and dedicated to our doctors in the country. And we saw people came out all on rule of law, that why rule of law is so important in this country, how do we obey it? And we look forward that the world obeys with us. And if the world was to hold our hand today, with all of us here together, I'm sure what you see, uncertainty today all over, what we see everywhere is something or the other happening, all will come to a rest. And India has to lead, lawyers have to lead, and that's why I think Bar Association is going to lead us in these privileges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your remarks. We now proceed for a very special moment, the release of the commemorative volume of the Indian Advocate, marking 75 years of the Supreme Court, the journey so far. May I request the chief guest and distinguished dignitaries on stage to kindly release the volume.
We also request Jaina, Managing Trustee, SCO, to come on the dais. We also request Jaina Kothari, Managing Trustee, SCO, to please come on the dais.
Justice. May I request Justice V. Subrim also to please come on stage. Oh, he wants to come next. एक उनके लिए बोल. No, I know, we just wanted to the launch. नहीं, I will. नहीं सर का नहीं है. may I request Anandita Pujari, the editor-in-chief of Indian Advocate, to say a few words on this.
Namaskar, everyone. Honorable Justice Maheshwari, Honorable Justice Koteshwar Singh ji, Honorable Justice Ramasubramaniam ji, all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, Honorable Justice Pitale, Honorable Justice Mai, and all other dignitaries from all over the world. We chose this occasion to release this book with a purpose. India, as all the dignitaries have already spoken before me, has always stood for rule of law. So we thought, why not celebrate our institutions, our idea of rule of law in front of all our friends from across the globe. That was the idea of release of this book today. And in fact, this is a celebration of the 75 years journey. In fact, the book is titled Supreme Court at 75, The Journey So Far. It is a commemorative volume of the Indian Advocate, which is the official journal of the Bar Association of India, of which I happen to be the chief editor. We are actually celebrating the journey so far. It is a time for us to pause, to reflect. And with that idea in mind, instead of passing judgment or having opinions, we thought it is time that we reflect upon the journey so far and we learn from the journey that has happened this far. So this is not about a final verdict, but this is a moment of pause that we are here to celebrate. We are also celebrating the great institution, the Supreme Court of India, that has ensured that the democracy and all other concepts of rule of law thrive in this country. So therefore, I would first begin by thanking and expressing my gratitude to all the contributors to this very special volume that we have. Please bear with me. I'll take about 2 minutes to read out all the names because it is absolutely necessary for us to celebrate each one of them. To begin with, we have messages from Honorable Justice Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India. We have messages from Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Justice Pankaj Mittal, Justice Rajesh Bindal, Justice Satish Chandra Sharma, Justice Joymal Bagchi, Justice Atul Chandurkar, Judge, Supreme Court of India. We also have messages from Justice Arun Bhansali, Chief Justice, High Court of Judicature of Allahabad, Justice T.S. Sivagam. We also have messages from Justice Zamir, Justice Sunita Agarwal, Justice Trilok Singh Chauhan, Justice Nitin Jamdar, Justice Bipul Pancholi, Justice Sanjay Paul, Justice Aparesh Kumar Singh. Then we have our articles. And in fact, the first chapter is Constitution and the Supreme Court, Blueprint and Balances. Here we have contribution from Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjwal Bhuiya, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Then we have articles from the Learned Attorney General of India, who also is the ex-officio chairman of the Bar Association of India, Mr. R. Venkatramani. We have articles from Justice Deepak Mishra, Professor Upendra Bakshi, Mr. Aditya Sondhi, senior advocate, along with his associate Anubhav Kumar, Mr. Uday Holla, V. Venkatesan, a very senior journalist who is also present in the hall today, Mr. A.S. Chandiok, Mr. Sujit Kumar, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mohan Katarki, Mr. Amal Ganguly, senior advocate. The second chapter deals with Supreme Court and its semiotics. This is a very interesting chapter and I'm sure you all will enjoy. Here we have articles from Mr. S.S. Naganand and Ms. Rahila Khurakiwala. We also have the third chapter on fundamental rights from core to contours. Here we have authors like Ms. Jaina Kothari, Malvika Rajkotia, Flavia Agnes and Audrey de Mello, and of course myself, along with my co-author Saileshwar Yadav, who is also the associate editor of this journal, and Ms. Aanchal Bathija. The next chapter deals with life and liberty. Here we have contribution that begins with a picture and a very detailed article by Mr. Shyam Diwan. Then we have contribution by Mr. Chandra Uday Singh and Vidya Vijeta Mohanty. Then we have article by Jhuma Sen, advocate and professor, Mr. Nitin Thakkar, President Bombay Bar Association, Dr. Kamlesh Joshipura, Dr. Bhavna Joshipura, and Samrat Upadhyay. And the last article in this section is by Professor Jasper Vikas and Dr. Premchand from NLU Delhi. Then we have some articles on the idea of faith, belief, and culture, as it is there in our constitution. In that, we have articles by Professor Faizan Mustafa as well as Dr. P. Ishwar Bhatt. And the last section deals with constitutional inspirations, because we thought, since we are celebrating our journey, it is good to end with a positive note as to where have we reached and where do we decide to aspire to go. So the last chapter is aspirational in nature, and that has got contribution from Mr. Vikramjit Banerjee, Learned Additional Solicitor General of India, who has co-authored with Mr. Subhendu Anand, Mr. Sudhir Krishnaswamy, Director, National Law University, Bangalore, Mr. Gautam Bhatia, Mr. Gopal Subramaniam, Mr. Subhash Sharma, who is also present in the hall, and of course, our own Dr. Jaiprakash Gupta, who has written volumes after volumes on tribal laws. In fact, is the only author who has produced tribal laws from all different states of India. This volume would not have been possible without the support and cooperation of course, the Bar Association of India team, led by our President Prashant Kumarji, but also the editorial help that we received from SCO, the Supreme Court Observer. Their managing trustee is present here, Ms. Jaina Kothari. We also had extensive support from our publisher, the Mohan Law House. He did the unimaginable. Within 1 week, he produced in a monsoon season a hardbound book. So I'm deeply grateful to each one of them. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Anandita. Now invite Ms. Rachna Srivastav, Vice President of the Bar Association of India, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vediji. Namaskar and good morning to all. The Chief Guest, Honorable Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Judge Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice Koteshwar Singh, Guest of Honor, Justice V. Subramaniam, Chairman, National Human Rights Commission, Justice Manish Pitale, Judge, Bombay High Court, Mr. Justice Anirudh Mai, Judge, Gujarat High Court, our Bhishma Pitama, Sir Avinash Rana, Prashant Kumar, President, Bar Association of India, Mr. Chandyok, President-elect, Bar Association of India, Mr. Shyam Devan, President, Law Asia and Vice President, Bar Association of India, Dr. Aninda Pujari, Vice President, Bar Association of India, Mr. Bedi, Honorable General Secretary, bar leaders from across the globe, members of the Executive Committee of the Bar Association of India, members of the Bar Council, member of the Governing Council of the Bar Association of India, distinguished dignitaries, esteemed speakers, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pleasure and great privilege that I stand before you today to propose a warm and sincere vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee on the inaugural session of this two-day International Conference on the Rule of Law. We are especially pleased to be able to organize this conference in New Delhi, as India, as an emerging economy, facing both exciting opportunities and difficult challenges, is showing leadership in the search of solutions. Traditionally, India is known for its long history of learning and ideas. It is thus an appropriate venue, as during these 2 days of our deliberations, we propose to engage with profound questions that lie at the foundation of constitutional governance, human rights, and administrative justice in global economic governance. We expect that a rich exchange of perspective will reaffirm the enduring relevance of the rule of law as the cornerstone of civilized societies and as the guarantor of peace and progress in the international community. This conference brings Together, nearly 430 participants from nearly 36 jurisdictions across the globe. And one can imagine the knowledge and ideas this gathering will generate and the relationships build. I sincerely hope this conference will not only break the new ground, but also break the ice. First and foremost, I extend my deep sense of gratitude to our esteemed Chief Guest, Honorable Justice J.K. Maheshwari, Judge Supreme Court of India, for gracing this inaugural session of the conference with his benign presence. Sir, your presence has truly added to the significance of our event, and your thought-provoking address has greatly enriched our proceedings. Your inspiring words have set a positive tone for our deliberations. We are deeply honored by your participation. Our special thanks to Honorable Justice Koteshwar Singh for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Sir, your insight and kind words have truly inspired us today. Success of any conference depends on the efforts of many people. We are equally indebted to our eminent keynote speakers from across various jurisdictions whose scholarly interventions and groundbreaking exchange of perspectives is bound to illuminate diverse dimensions of the rule of law and offer pathways for its advancement. Our sincere thanks to the various chairs of the sessions, who have taken out their time from busy schedule. Our thanks to Dr. Pujari for single-handedly handling this possibility of this release of this volume, which has been released today. I would like to share one very important information that the Bar Association of India has signed 11 memorandum of understandings with different bar leaders, and we have had 17 bilaterals with them. Our thanks are also due to the distinguished delegates who have traveled across borders to participate in this gathering. Your commitment to dialogue and cooperation will certainly exemplify the spirit of internationalism upon which the rule of law must rest. Finally, to all the participants, I convey my sincere thanks. A special thanks to the delegates from Nepal who have assembled here in large number, amounting to more than 130. The success of this conference will be measured not merely by the quality of discourse we will witness within these walls, but by the commitment with which we will carry the ideas into practice, thereby strengthening the fabric of rule of law in our respective nations and beyond. Our warm appreciations to many people behind the scene whose tireless efforts have made this conference into a reality. With this word, I once again extend our deepest gratitude to all with the hope of resounding success of this event. We hope that the deliberations that will be held here will continue to resonate and bear the fruit in the cause of justice, liberty, and human dignity. Please join me in expressing our appreciation to Honorable Justice J.K. Maheshwari and Justice N.K. Singh for taking the time to be with us today for this inaugural session. Thank you very much.
Just before we conclude, just like Steve Jobs says, one more thing. May I request our chief guest and guest of honor to give a bouquet to Mr. Avinash Rana for his active contribution in the field of law at even the current age of 99. Thank you. With this, we conclude the inaugural session of the second New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention.